It's like stings. Transcendent Alliance.
Wandering interland zealots, building smoke pallets with a caterpillar chalice. We burn down malice, these pallets like pillars on governmental buildings. These money grubbing corporate conspiracy rings. While the niggas stick to their guns, I know things. Bad good undercover operations, fake aims. College kids and bigs talking about.
What happened in 9/11 is we didn't have a strategy, we didn't have bipartisan agreement, we didn't have American understanding of it, and we had instead a policy coup in this country. A coup. A policy coup. Some hard-nosed people took over the direction of American policy, and they never bothered to inform the rest of us. Wolfowitz and Cheney and Rumsfeld, and you could name a half-dozen other collaborators from the Project for a New American Century. They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control. They could hardly wait to finish Iraq so they could move into Syria. It was like a laydown. Oh, our legions are going to go in there. This wasn't what the American people voted George Bush into office. Well, they didn't actually vote him into office, but it wasn't what many of the people who... It wasn't what he campaigned on. He campaigned on a humble foreign policy, the most arrogant foreign policy in American history. He campaigned on no peacekeeping, no nation building, and here he is with Afghanistan and Iraq. It's astonishing. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're an American, you ought to be concerned about the strategy of the United States in this region. What is our aim? What is our purpose? Why are we there? Why are Americans dying in this region? That is the issue.
The chief prosecutor of the ICTY was about to indict Slobodan Milosevic for war crimes in Kosovo. And General Clark writes in a couple of pages, and so I'm just sort of boiling down, as he really just said, that the indictment was a big win. So an indictment was a huge win, and it was a huge win politically. And so I want to ask him sort of why he thinks that, why he thinks that the indictment itself was a huge win. But more importantly, I want to ask a more specific, a more general question about justice today, and that is, are there times when a prosecutor, you think, should not indict? Right? A prosecutor should not indict, even in the face of clear senior level responsibility for war crimes and genocide. And in fact, this is the question that Judge Barone had posed, which is that there doesn't need to be a clear dichotomy between justice and peace. And so I'm wondering what your view is, both as a military person, as a political leader in this country, and as an observer of these kinds of conflicts.
Well, I've always had an academic approach to this issue, which got me in a lot of trouble as a military, because you're supposed to be very cautious and very conservative and not give your opinions. So you can imagine that some people in Washington probably weren't too happy when I told Louis Arbor to go ahead and indict him, since they'd already told Louis Arbor not to indict him. And I'm sure many of those people in the Pentagon, where they thought, as they looked at it, they said, it's not so important about the war there, but we've got to have our $20 billion extra for procurement, and every day that war goes on, it's costing us money, and we might end up, so anything that could make him more likely to fight, we shouldn't take a risk on it. Okay, but, you know, I understand that's the institutional position of the Pentagon. That's not what's right for Europe, for America, or the world. So I think when we indicted, we really made a strong statement, a very strong positive statement. A, that the leaders are not exempt. B, that we won't be deterred by fear and over-cautious, bureaucratic attitudes about making progress in international justice. And a more humble foreign policy, which joined Crosby, what the Chronicles stand about 5 feet. Maybe you wrote those words. He was so angry. And so
That's the way you have to. You can't win these debates by being overly. Now Biden could have lost it easily last night. He couldn't get away with interrupting. Like I could get away with interrupting because I made him mad. No, I made him mad. Like two guys. And I just said he says at one point he says, "Quit interrupting me." He said, "I'm sorry I'm getting under your skin." I said, "I'm not getting under my skin. I just want to talk." So shut up.
General Clark, could I ask you to make a further comment on what you mentioned about the serious nature of statecraft in conflict with international justice? Because you brought up Iran, Operation Ajax, and the terrorism done under cover of CIA to oust a democratically elected government, right? And we know of...
who am I talking to?
My name's Jeremy. I'm a member of the Citizens Working Press. We ask questions that the paid press doesn't want to ask. So let me ask you about the idea of Operation Gladio, NATO's stay-behind armies that did false flag bombings in Italy in the 60s from the fascist right.
In the 60s?
Yeah. And then also in the KLA, the Kosovo Liberation Army.
But you're overwhelming him.
No, sir. The KLA was associated with Al-Qaeda and drug dealing while you were the commander of NATO in Kosovo.
I heard the Soviets say that.
No, not the Soviets.
I heard the Russians say it.
Well, but it's true. Western historians don't deny that, sir, right? I mean, the KLA was doing drug dealing, and they were associated with Al-Qaeda.
Say that.
No, Western academics, historians, sir. No.
Good debate.
Good time for money.
So, General Clark, do you think those war games on 9/11, sir? Sir, do you think those war games on 9/11 were a coincidence? No, for real. For real.
Not for real.
We're headed to lunch now.
No, I know.
The lecture.
No, but for real, sir.
But for real.
You know, like the Joint Chiefs of Staff running live fly hijack drills with blips on the screen and the FAA. Do you think that was a coincidence on 9/11?
Who are you with?
I'm with WeAreChangeLA Media.
And what is that? A radio station?
No, we do all kinds of citizen media. And I know General Clark has remarked about 9/11.
Give him a chance to talk to some other people.
I
Okay?
will.
Because it's really
He went on and on with everybody.
You got a question and he answered you.
No, he didn't answer me.
Other people want to talk to him. Like me.
Do you have availability in the near future, do you think, or they're keeping you busy?
This is the very deepest aspects of law and national security that we're trying to figure out here, and that many people are being evasive about.
That's fine. And
I'm not trying to be
we all
rude.
want truth, but there's a time to push and a time
I know,
not
and now is the time I'd like an answer about. Do you really think that the National Reconnaissance? Oh, I'm sorry.
John McCain and his claims that his war experience somehow makes him qualified to do the sort of things that you've done. And
Yeah, that was a good comment.
I've been waiting for somebody to say it, and with somebody with your experience able to say it meant so much, and I was so sorry to see other people kind of leave you alone on that one.
General, this way.
So, General Clark, it does seem...
Thank you very much.
You've mentioned that the 9/11 Commission didn't finish the story, and it does seem that under Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution, that any cover-up of an act of war is treason. And so do you think that the National Reconnaissance Office running a plane into their building drill and the Joint Chiefs of Staff running live fly hijack drills right as alleged hijackers were hijacking airplanes and crashing them into World Trade Center and the Pentagon is a coincidence? Do you, sir? General, please answer me.
Are you sorry you made the comments you did?
Well, Dan, I'm not backing away from anything I said.
Is your silence an answer, sir? Is it?
You're talking to yourself, buddy.
I'd like an answer. So, General Clark, is that a silence as an answer? Please answer me.
This is a library.
I'm a citizen of the United States of America, and you're a general.
Excuse me. This is a library, and you are yelling in the middle of a library, okay?
A second home to many of us, our safety is not something we're generally concerned about at Powell Library. And yet, at 11:30 p.m. on Tuesday night, a student was shot with a taser gun in the Click Laboratory.
The student was tasered or stunned by a gun that shoots electrified darts by UCPD officers. The officers issued a citation for, quote, obstruction of a peace officer in the performance of duty, end quote, and the student was taken into custody. The Assistant Chief of Police shed light on the incident.
Our civilian employee who's a CSO, he went through the library and announced that he was going to be checking IDs. And this gentleman would not identify himself, so he was asked to leave several times. The CSO called the police for assistance.
So, and I don't, do you have UCLA Law School ID?
No, this is open to the public, so I guess I'll have to leave here. Okay. Yeah.
Me and my crew come through ready with the power of sound. Oh, me another come through steady into power on your throne. No, it's we can do deadly force and let loose in our zone. You'll remember, our words isn't gonna be one. Me and my crew come through ready with the power of sound. Oh, me another come through steady into power on your throne. No, it's we can do deadly force and let loose in our zone. You'll remember, our words ain't gonna be one. It wasn't gonna be one.